Disneyland Paris. For some people it's the ideal holiday destination, a chance to experience all things wonderful in Disney and Europe. People flock all around and spend weeks at this resort, so surely the rides have to play a part in that appeal. For a European theme park, Disneyland Paris actually has a small amount of rides, in the main park and in the studio, totaling 33 operational rides at the resort. Whilst Disneyland Paris has numerous walking attractions that might be erroneously considered rides, we view rides as something that physically moves you in a direction, even if briefly. We don't class anything that doesn't move you as a ride, so a 4D cinema is not a ride if the chair only vibrates, but if it rocks forwards and backwards, it's a ride. Is that clear? Now, with infamous queue issues at every Disney park, wouldn't you want to skip the rubbish rides and only enjoy what's best on offer and improve your trip? Through countless trips to this resort, we have compiled a list of 33 operational rides ranked from worst to best to see what is phenomenal and what is absolute dross. Because I refuse to acknowledge that Disneyland Paris is two separate parks, as there are seldom rides in each, I've mixed them together like I have a park hopper ticket, and can enjoy and rank Disneyland Paris as a whole. It shows my disdain for a two-park system and makes this list longer. Win-win. I'm Charles from Theme Park Roundup, and here are the 33 Disneyland Paris rides ranked from worst to best. Brace yourselves. Number 33. Cars Road Trip. Cars Road Trip is the best thing in Disney Studios, if you ignore the fact that everything else exists. Cars Road Trip is rock bottom of the list because it is absolutely pointless. A 5-minute round circle trip just to witness one decent effect, and that effect came from its predecessor, Studio Tram Tour, which was a lot longer and a lot better a ride than this Cars retheme. The rest of the tour has a smattering of a couple of features, with jokes so poor that you can hear a pin drop in the silence that follows the quips. To give it one positive comment, I suppose it's a nice sit down. Number 32. Horse-drawn streetcars. Horse-drawn streetcars is a very nice touch along Main Street when you first enter the park. People nodding at you as they are taken down the street by trotting horses. This may have been exciting pre the invention of the Ford Model T, but for adrenaline rollercoaster junkies or admirers of the works of the Disney Imagineers, this is just a horse and cart. Not much of an impressive ride. Number 31. Main Street Vehicles. And next is Main Street Vehicles, exactly the same as horse-drawn streetcars but without the horses. This ride is ranked higher because no poor horses have to work to operate this ride, otherwise it's very similar. Same as the streetcars but without horses. Number 30. Blanche-Neige et le Sept-Nains. Watch out, this ride is absolutely terrifying. It all starts nicely in a house with the 7 dwarfs, but then you go through another set of doors and the mood immediately changes. The Wicked Witch is there and a crow screams at you. Ah! Wolves howl, eerie music plays, skeletons hang. The witch aggressively confronts you. Make it stop. If I'm creeped out as an adult, God only knows how a kid feels riding this. Number 29. Le Carrousel de Lancelot. The carousel is one of the oldest ride forms at a theme park. Anyone that's been to one or to a fun fair has probably seen or ridden one of these. The Carrousel de Lancelot is a nice big carousel and does play some decent music, but that's about it. Number 28. Mad Hatter's Teacups. Another well-known ride type. It's the teacups. These are nicely themed on Alice in Wonderland, but it's just the teacups. Spin yourself dizzy until you start celebrating everyone's on birthdays yourself. Number 27. Flying Carpets over Agrabah. Flying Carpets over Agrabah is a Dumbo ride, which Disneyland Paris has free of for some reason. Based in the Aladdin area in the Studios Park, this ride has like the bare minimum Aladdin theming, and is more based on a film set than anything else. The whole Aladdin area has no real Aladdin themed rides, which is entirely bizarre. Moving on, number 26, Dumbo the Flying Elephant. It's another Dumbo ride. This one is actually themed to Dumbo, which is always great for one of these. It goes around and up and down, but it's only the second best Dumbo ride in Disneyland Paris. But what can out Dumbo the Dumbo themed Dumbo ride? Number 25, Orbitron. Here it is! Orbitron is a gorgeously themed Dumbo ride. It's incredibly lovingly themed, just to repeat it and overemphasise it. Steampunk and in a nice area, so it wins the Dumbo ride genre. Well done, Orbitron. Number 24, Peter Pan's Flight. A classic. Fly around reliving the Peter Pan movie. It's a bit dated. This ride has a terrible throughput, which means it has large queues, which means it ranks low here. It's a nice ride, but not really worth the queue. Number 23, It's a Small World. Sorry, It's a Small World fans, it's a yawn fest. To give it its due, the ride has some great updates with accessibility and inclusion, but it's still a boring ride. But it eats queues, so here we go. Number 22, Fun de Mesa Riverboat Landing. Yes, it goes around the river on a track, but it's in a gorgeous area and there's a lot to look at, like trying to find Mark Twain. You exist, maybe one day you'll be used again. More likely than the canoes anyway. Watching Big Thunder Mountain constantly is a lovely experience too. A calm and peaceful ride. Number 21, Le Pays de Contes de Fées. A great name. A nice peaceful ride where you look at set pieces from fairy tale stories, as you would know if you spoke French. Being refurbished and losing its original charm, it will still be lovely. It was a great place to listen to electrical parade music. Number 20, Les Voyages de Pinocchio. Another classic attraction. Les Voyages de Pinocchio is one of the best of the 3 classic Disneyland rides, which includes Snow White and Peter Pan. A very nicely coloured ride, making even the darkest scenes seem vibrant with life. Number 19, Autopia. Who doesn't like driving around in diesel cars this day and age, polluting the planet whilst taking up considerable amount of space, which probably could fit about 4 other attractions in. With the original opening in 1955 to show off the future of American multi-lane highways, guests visiting Disneyland Paris can experience the realities of this dream upon queuing on the motorway to enter the park. It's still a nice peaceful ride. Number 18, Casey Jr. Le Petit Train de Cirque. Toot toot! Casey Jr. is going around the track, and it's a great coaster. With nice angled turns at a comfortable enough speed to the small circus train, this is very good fun indeed. Number 17, Disney Railroad. We have a soft spot for trains. We love filming them at every park we go, and Disney Railroad is of no exception. This is a very nice ride, allowing you to see the beauty of Disneyland Paris from a seated position. They have been very slow opening up the other stations after the lockdown era we unfortunately went through. Please open it all back up and return Disney Railroad to its former glory. And if you are watching this in the future and they have opened all the stations up now, you have us to thank. Don't worry, thank you so much. Number 16, Slinky Dog Zigzag Spin. Slinky Dog Zigzag Spin is a convoluted name, but a rather enjoyable and weirdly thrilling ride. Just constantly going around in a circle, you are pushed to the edge of your seat. I love it. Number 15, Indiana Jones et le Temple du Peril. Indiana Jones et le Temple du Peril is ranked highly on this list because it's a thrill ride, but it's a terrible thrill ride. An incredibly rough roller coaster with a sickening loop. This ride is based off the iconic minecart chase scene in the Temple of Doom, but you're left feeling like one of the chasers who didn't make it out of the cave alive. Ouch! Number 14, Toy Soldiers Parachute Drop. Up, down, fair bit of fun on this even if it doesn't do a lot. For some reason it's in freeze, so the single rider queue goes down incredibly quickly on this, certainly far quicker than the main queue anyway. Number 13, RC Racer. If Toy Story's parachute drop was up, down, then neighbouring Toy Story ride RC Racer is out, back. Like a mobile pirate ship ride, this can be sickening, but it's an alright attraction. Number 12, Cars Quattro Royale. Cars Quattro Royale is surprisingly good fun, and really with a long queue, which makes it even better as you can keep going on it to your heart's content. Spin around as one of the Cars characters, reenacting what it would be like if there was oil on the road. Whee! Number 11, Buzz Lightyear Laser Blast. Okay, it's cheap and it's tacky, but the music in the queue is stunning, as is the Buzz animatronic, which is why it's pushed so far up in this list. The ride is decent enough for a shooter, but it could have been so much more. Into the top 10 we go. Number 10, Crush's Coaster. It's a Mara spinner, it's a disco in a shed, it's Crush's Coaster. With the longest queues known to man though, put this in another theme park and it won't get as long a queue unless it's at the entrance, which I suppose this ride is. I really like the submarine theming, and then you fly around like no one's business, which is why this has managed to get into the top 10. Number 9, Star Tours, L'Aventure Continue. A simulator, Star Tours is an amusing story, if all in French, which I suppose you should expect in France. This ride is incredibly well constructed, meaning there's loads of different choices, so you are unlikely to get the same story if you repeat the ride on the same day. That definitely means it should be re-rode. Number 8, Spider-Man Web Adventure. This ride has extremely catchy music and a fun premise. It's a bit knackering actually shooting a web, and it does make you look like you're miming to be a very over-enthusiastic DJ, but it's okay because the ride is fun and the music is great. Did we mention how good the music is? Number 7, Avengers Assemble Flight Force. We miss Rock'n'Roller Coaster. Flight Force has a brilliant queue line, even if for some reason they never like using the pre-show properly anymore. With a decent launch, you are sent around a good layout, with the story on board being well constructed. Somehow this ride rarely gets queues, which is all the better for me I suppose. I do miss Rock'n'Roller Coaster though. Dude, looks like a ladder. Number 6, Star Wars Hyperspace Mountain. Another ride with a great launch. I have always enjoyed that bit after launch where you pop your head out of the building for a brief second and say hello to the rest of Disneyland Paris before you end up flying around the planets. The vest restraints make this a very good ride. I do wish the Star Wars overlay would go though. It was only meant to be temporary and just lives here forever. Space Mountain saved Disneyland Paris, and the outside facade was incredibly gorgeous before they put Star Wars on it. Bring back the beautiful and historic Space Mountain. Number 5, Ratatouille L'Aventure Totalement Touquet. This ride is incredibly stunning and beautiful. The way you smell all the food that appears on screen is incredible ride design too. A trackless ride, you play the role of a mouse as you scuttle around exploring and trying to avoid being exterminated. It's a bit like Mouse Hunt, or I suppose Ratatouille. Single riders move incredibly quickly as it's another 3x3 seater. You find yourself riding this again and 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 again. Number 4. Pirates of the Caribbean. I'm going to go straight out and say this. This is one of the best Pirates of the Caribbean attractions in the world. A good layout with a slow start building up the intensity, then into the lovely battle and fire scenes, if you can call battle and fire scenes lovely, before coming down at the end. It's mesmerisingly good. It has very little Jack Sparrow, so it's still quite original in many ways. Very re-rideable. Number 3. Big Thunder Mountain. An utterly amazing ride. I'm going to go one step further than my Pirates of the Caribbean claim and say that this is definitely the best Big Thunder Mountain there is. It's on an island in Thunder Mesa. The backdrop is wonderful and it looks even better at night. Packs a punch at the end of the day and it's extremely good fun throughout. Number 2, the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror. Number 2 goes to the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror. A visibly intriguing building from the outside. On ride, each lift shaft is a completely different story and ride experience, but all 3 rides are fun. Also, the staff on this ride, when they're really into it, really add to the eerie feeling. Loved by many, though my favourite is Lift 1, far left as you enter Batchin. Which is yours? Number 1, Phantom Manor. And number 1 and the best ride at Disneyland Paris is Phantom Manor. Of course this is the best ride ever, even better since they refurbished it. Phantom Manor is so perfectly French. An eerie old manor with probably the best storyline of all the Disney Haunted Mansions. Pretty much perfection, plus it never has huge queues, which is a big bonus. It also has loads of awesome animatronics and is incredibly re-rideable. Could stay on and ride it again and again and again and again and again. We're doing this again and again and again and again. And there we have it, all 33 Disneyland Paris rides ranked. Do you agree with our list? Think we made any glaring mistakes? Let us know in the comments. If you have enjoyed the video or have found it useful, please like and subscribe as we spent an age visiting the park and putting this together. We have also ranked rides at other theme parks that you can check out in the description below. Thank you for watching.